Hello viewers. Today, this time, right now, it is time to recognize sexy time in the Catholic Church. To help me out with this, there is a gentleman by the name of Hemant Mehta. He writes as the friendly atheist in Pathos. And I'm going to read you his latest on the bishop who left the church for satanic erotica writer, now works for Pig Semen Group. So back in August, Bishop Xavier Novelli Goma made global headlines after announcing his resignation from the Catholic Church. That itself wasn't a huge shocker, though it was newsworthy given that he had once been the youngest bishop in Spain at the age of 41. The reason this was headline-worthy was because he stepped down after falling in love with Silvia Caballol, a divorced woman who wrote erotic fiction with a satanic twist. So this guy fell in love, then pursued that relationship instead of obeying his priestly vow of celibacy. Good for him. The satanic erotica was irrelevant, but a detail that just made everything so much better. Now there's another wrinkle in his story that will make your jaw drop another few inches. According to Spanish media, Novell has already found a new career path. He's working for a pig semen company that produces and distributes only the highest quality pig liquid. Novell's job? Masturbating the pigs. A priest said to know Novell told Spanish media, "It's like the parable of the prodigal son in the Gospel of Luke. The son who abandoned the father to lead the debaucherous life and ended up wishing to eat pig slop." But in this case, it's the beast or devil because he masturbates them. Animal rights issues aside, I've never been so delighted to see the words priest and masturbation in the same story. These things usually end much, much worse. As I said before, though, Novell isn't the hero you want him to be. For years in his previous vocation, he conducted exorcisms and promoted gay conversion torture. Handling pig semen, then, is a major step up for him. That's what we get from Hemant Mehta. Thank you, Hemant, for that. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to see if I can find some more Catholic stories, because they are so funny. They are so funny. I can't stand it. Why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long? Oh, there we go. Bear with me for one moment. Aha! Here we have. This one is by Barry Duke. And it is titled Right-Wing Catholic Cult Opus Dei Accused of Exploiting Women. How the hell does that happen? All right. Let me see if I can catch up to you guys. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier. If you actually see what I'm doing here, right? All right, there you go. So there you go. All right. Okay, let me bring myself down over here. Like that. Alright, so right-wing Catholic cult Opus Dei accused of exploiting women. Let's see. This is from Patheos, Non-Religious, by Barry Duke. Alright, so founded by Jose Maria Escriva, above, this guy here, now a saint. This guy's a saint. Opus Dei has long been accused of secrecy, elitism, cult-like practices, and political involvement with right-wing causes, such as the rule of Francisco Franco in Spain. Now, the organization, according to Religious News Service, is being accused by a group of women of labor exploitation, as well as abuse of power. Often minors at the time, they labored under manifestly illegal conditions that included working without pay for 12 hours plus, without breaks except for food and or prayer. No registration in the social security system, and other violations of basic rights. The women are demanding financial reparations from Opus Dei and that it acknowledges the abuses and apologizes to them. They also want those responsible punished. A total of 42 women have lodged a complaint with the Vatican's Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. One is Lucia Jimenez, 56, who joined the Catholic group in her native Paraguay at the age of 14 with the promise she would get an education. But instead of math or history, she was trained in cooking, cleaning, and other household chores to serve in Opus Dei residences and retirement homes. For 18 years, she washed clothes, scrubbed bathrooms, and attended to the group's needs for 12 hours a day, with breaks only for meals and praying. Despite her hard labor, she says, "I never saw money in my hands." The complaint says that the Argentine and Paraguayan citizens worked for the movement in Argentina, Paraguay, Bolivia, Uruguay, Italy, and Kazakhstan between 1974 and 2015. Opus Dei, Work of God in Latin, was founded by the Spanish priest Escriva in 1928 and has 90,000 members in 70 countries. The lay group, which was greatly favored by St. John Paul II, who canonized Escriva in 2002, has a unique status in the church and reports directly to the Pope. According to RNS, the women in the complaint have one thing in common: humble origins. They were recruited and separated from their families between the ages of 12 and 16. In some cases, like Jimenez's, they were taken to Opus Dei Center in another country, circumventing immigration controls. They claim that Opus Dei priests and other members exercised coercion of conscience on the women to pressure them to serve and to frighten them with spiritual evils if they didn't comply with the supposed will of God. They also controlled their relations with the outside world. Most of the women asked to leave as the physical and psychological demands became intolerable. But when they finally did, they were left without money. Many also said they needed psychological treatment after leaving Opus Dei. Said Sebastian Sull, the women's lawyer. The hierarchy of Opus Dei is aware of these practices. It is an internal policy of Opus Dei. The search for these women is conducted the same way throughout the world. It is something institutional. The women's complaint also points to dozens of priests affiliated with Opus Dei for their alleged intervention, participation, and knowledge in the denounced events. The allegations in the complaint are similar to those made by members of another conservative Catholic organization, also favored by St. John Paul II, the Legion of Christ. The Legion recruited young women to become consecrated members of its lay branch, Regnum Christi, to work in Legion-run schools and other projects. Those women alleged spiritual and psychological abuse of being separated from family and being told their discomfort was God's will, and that abandoning their vocation would be tantamount to abandoning God. Pope Francis has been cracking down on 20th century religious movements after several religious orders and lay groups were accused of sexual and other abuses by their leaders. Opus Dei has so far avoided much of the recent controversy, though there have been cases of individual priests accused of misconduct. Josefina Madariaga, director of Opus Dei's press office in Argentina, told the AP, "We do not have any official notification from the Vatican about the existence of a complaint of this type. If there is a traumatic experience or one that has left them with a wound, we want to honestly listen to them, understand what happened, and from there, correct what has to be corrected." She added that all the people currently working on site are paid, adding that some 80 women currently work for Opus Dei in Argentina. However, she said, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, society as a whole dealt with these issues in a more informal or family way. Opus Dei has made the necessary changes and modifications to accompany the law in force today. Beatriz Delgado, who worked for Opus Dei for 23 years in Argentina and Uruguay, said she was told that I had to give my salary to the director and that everyone gave it. It was part of giving to God. They convince you with a vocation, with God calls you, God asks this of you, you cannot fail God. They hooked me with that. So far, the Vatican has not ruled on the complaint, and it's not clear if it will. A Vatican spokesman did not immediately respond to a request for information. If there is no response, the women's legal representatives say they will initiate criminal proceedings against Opus Dei for human trafficking, reduction to servitude, awareness, control, and illegitimate deprivation of liberty. Yeah. So, that's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what's going on. The Catholic Church, Opus Dei, scum. Absolute scum. I see there's 4 people watching. How many of you would like to enter a live chat room? I think my room's even set up. It just set up correctly. See if we can go find it. Ah, look, there it is. Ha ha ha. Actually, before I do anything, I'm just going to just put the link on the off chance that somebody will come in. Alright, so there's the link. There's the paste of the link. And here is the room, which I am going to put up there like this. Yeah, like that. So this room, which is open right now, may be entered through a specific code which is linked. What I'd like to talk about is this triune God thing, which I don't know if you caught earlier, but there was a long discussion about the history of the early church, early Christianity, and how the Trinity came to be kind of crafted into place, as it were, over many years, like a century, changing all the time, having different interpretations. So, unfortunately, we're stuck with the Trinity that we have today, and that is this one here. where God is the Father, God is the Son, God is the Spirit. The Son is not the Spirit, the Son is not the Father is not the Son, the Spirit is not the Son, the Father is not the Spirit, and the Spirit is not the Son. And as you can tell from the 3 laws of thought graphic, that this whole Trinitarian concept violates the second law of logic, the second law of thought, where A cannot be both A and B. So the law of contradiction is being violated. So no proposition can be both true and not true, right? So God is the Father is true. God is the Spirit is also true. God is the Son is true. So that totally violates the second law of logic. So Aristotle got there before you guys. You should have thought about this when you made up this nonsense back in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd centuries. What the hell were you doing? What the hell were you thinking? Now we're stuck with arguing about it all the time. That's crazy, crazy stuff. All right, so the room will be open for the next, I don't know, I should put a timer up there and see if I'll tell you what, yeah, it's a good idea. Give me 1 moment. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going to put a timer up, okay? And then once the time is up, I'm going to keep the room open for, say, that amount of time. Say. And then what I'm going to do is put up a clock. So how long should we wait? 10 minutes? 5 minutes? I think 5 minutes is long enough, huh? So this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Come on, computer, work with me. All right, so I do believe there we go. There we go. This is what happens when you got too many things to choose from. This is nonsense. Nonsense. Well, I'm just gonna have to fix it, aren't I? Okay, good. I think that we're getting there. Okay, so here we go. I will give it 5 minutes for anyone to join, and let's have a chat.